Hello, everybody. Welcome to MAWS Talks Wrestling. We are your hosts. I am LunaKage.
I am Glenburg.
And we have a show for you tonight.
Indeed.
Because I don't have any real way to sign on other than that. So, without further ado, let's go to our callers. Hello, you're on the line with MAWS Talks Wrestling. What do you have for us today?
Hey, well, guys, I'm really a big fan of you guys. I just have to ask, your shows, how do you get your inspiration to talk about everything that happens every week?
We first start by watching everything that happens every week, and then we talk about it.
Right. And do any of you guys plan on actually becoming wrestlers?
I would very much like to wrestle dad ass.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, I definitely want to be one.
I'd like to be one, but there's not really much in the market for guys like me. Unless I somehow became the next Kevin Steen.
Or have amazing charisma.
I mean, you know.
Have your beliefs, and you can do anything you desire. You just gotta believe.
Right. So we had Slammiversary. I wanted to watch it, but the stream was really, really bad. Apparently, no title changed hands. But then,
yes,
in the coming weeks, spoilers, fucking every title's changing hands. Like, they just give them away on free TV. I think it's absolutely fucking hilarious.
Yeah, you pay for a title change, you don't get one.
Right. It's the exact opposite of what WWE does, because for the WWE, the major titles barely, if ever, change hands on the weekly TV. The only titles that do are the titles that the company doesn't give a fuck about, like
a mid-card title.
Well, not even just the mid-card. I mean, I don't even know how long it's been since the Intercontinental changed hands on TV. It might have even fucking changed hands the last couple of times, but the fact is, it didn't fucking matter. And that's why I don't remember. Because it didn't matter at the time. Shit, I can barely remember the last two Intercontinental champions, so shit.
I think the Divas title was the last one that changed hands on TV.
I mean, the Divas title changes hands on TV all the fucking time, but that's just like, that's not even a real title at this point.
It's decoration. It's a big butterfly.
Yeah. But basically, Slammiversary, everyone retained. The next night on Impact, well, not the next night, but you get it.
Yes.
The next Impact, Eric Young loses the title to Bobby fucking Lashley, of all people, thereby increasing the number of world titles that he's had that mean nothing to 2. Because he was a former ECW champion.
Yeah,
after that title stopped meaning anything.
They actually mention all of that. Like, he's a former WWE United States champion, ECW World Champion.
Yeah. He held the U.S. title? I forgot about that.
Yep. That's when he dropped it. Who did he drop it to again? I can't remember how he lost it to get the ECW one, but I remember he took it off. Didn't he take it off JBL initially, and then JBL became WWE champion?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Lashley didn't even start coming around until JBL already lost the belt. Because the Cena era was already in full swing by the time Lashley came around.
Hold on. I am pretty sure he fought.
I mean, like, John Cena had the U.S. title, and then lost it to Carlito, and then that's when he got the shot at JBL's WWE title.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I could have sworn he took it off of... he did take it off of JBL, yeah. Oh, that's the passes,
Yeah. Anyway, that was a worthless title change. In the coming weeks, Austin Aries is gonna win the X Division title fucking on free TV. Gail Kim is going to win the Knockouts title on free TV.
Yeah, so it would, instead of making her win it at the pay-per-vue, it was really it was a short match.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I walked away when she lost the match.
Did that happen on this week's episode, or is that one of the pre-tapes?
I didn't see Impact this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know they taped like 3 episodes, including the live one we tried to see on Thursday. And in this set of tapings, within 3 weeks after the pay-per-view, we get the World Championship changing hands, the X Division Championship changing hands, and the Knockouts Championship changing hands.
Oh wow! I just see that they announced Hardy versus Lashley for the world title this Thursday.
Yeah, they're fucking Kurt Angle, I guess, in one of the upcoming Impacts. Kurt Angle says that Jeff Hardy is going to be in a battle royal or something to determine the number 1 contender, or that might have happened on Thursday's episode. But he says that Hardy has to compete in his Hardy persona. He can't do it as Willow. So it looks like maybe they're trying to get rid of Willow. Already.
Get serious, guys.
Which is funny because I thought the Willow character was a good idea for Jeff Hardy, because it's not like, at first I thought it was weird because they're rebranding their biggest guy, I guess, but at the same time they weren't trying to pass it off like he wasn't Jeff Hardy. So that meant like, oh, it was Jeff Hardy, but he's just kind of fucking crazy right now, which I thought was cool because it's Jeff Hardy, who is admittedly a stale character, getting like a new character.
It made things interesting for a while, yeah.
Yeah. Like his in-ring style didn't change too much. He got a little bit more aggressive. But
losses don't matter to him.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, from what I hear, I guess there's plans of that TNA is Well, I'm being redundant as fuck. I guess TNA is planning on reuniting the Hardy Boys.
Yeah, because they're supposed to reunite this Thursday as well.
This Thursday?
Yeah. Well, they said the New York City Impact, and that's the one that's coming up this Thursday. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen with that if Jeff has a title shot.
I don't know. That's the thing about pre-tapes. Like, a lot of shit can happen. Because, like, when I was reading the pre-tapes, I didn't see that. I just suspected that it was going to happen, like, in the next set of tapings. Or maybe at a pay-per-view, like, they hype it up without having Matt make an appearance.
Right, I see what you're saying.
But that'd be pretty cool. I mean, Jeff Hardy kind of, like, lives on the nostalgia factor right now anyway. Pretty much any star that was around in the Attitude Era is pretty much good for a nostalgia kind of, pop, I guess.
Or pretty much anyone from ECW.
Well, you could do that, I guess. It's starting to get a little played out with the ECW thing.
Like, I guess Tommy Dreamer, showing up with the Dixie thing.
Yeah. I guess Rhino comes back in a couple weeks. What the fuck?
That was weird. It was, I was trying to play the video from Impact and the volume was like really high.
Jeez.
Yeah. Alright.
There's not really anything too much important to discuss, though. I guess Lashley's going to hold the title for a while, which is dumb.
And MVP is going to probably be on crutches for a while longer.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it goes. It's funny because, like I told you after it happened, every time TNA puts on a good show, normally a pay-per-view now, like their pay-per-views have been pretty decent lately after they switched from the 4 times a year thing. And even then, like, the pay-per-views were okay at the time. Like, Bound for Glory was actually pretty legit.
Right.
But the thing is, like, after every pay-per-view, they're like, alright, we're gonna fuck it right up again.
Which is sad but true.
Because like I'd never been as interested in TNA as I was when they were doing the CM Punk angle correctly with AJ Styles.
Uh-huh.
You know, he wins the championship at Bound for Glory, you know, the TNA WrestleMania,
Uh-huh.
and he leaves the company with it, legitimately defending it in other countries, like he said he was gonna. Like Punk said that he would, but he didn't.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, they were building it up to where, like, they were gonna have a new champion crowned, but then AJ would come back and beat the new champion, or, like, face the new champion, or whatever. But since AJ didn't want to re-sign the contract, because TNA fucking sucks,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't end up doing that, and instead had, you know, fucking AJ lose in the most butt-fuckery sort of way.
Of all people, too, like Magnus, I guess
Yeah.
can't take credit away from him. He's a pretty good wrestler, but yeah, of all people to lose it to like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a complete overbooked mess.
Yeah.
And they just kind of keep doing little things like that. I mean, you really want Bobby Lashley to be your champion? I mean, come on.
If I'm not a champion in WWE, I'll definitely be a champion in TNA.
I mean, fucking Austin Aries needs that belt again.
Yeah.
Like, that was another time where I was, like, getting really interested in TNA. After Austin Aries was the first person to cash in at Destination X
Mm-hmm.
and beat Bobby Roode
Mm-hmm.
to end his undefeated, well, his like fucking record for the longest title reign in TNA history.
Right.
Like, that was a big moment, and you were starting to believe that Austin Aries was legit because he did it again. You know, he was fucking putting guys twice his weight in the Brain Buster. You know, like shit.
The TNA title helps the TNA guys a lot more than it does the WWE and other company guys.
I mean, yeah, that's obvious because the guys who were in WWE have held legitimate titles. And
Yeah.
TNA, their world title doesn't really mean anything right now because the company doesn't really mean anything right now.
Yeah.
But like when you put it on guys that have already had decorated careers, who the fuck gives a shit? And Bobby Lashley didn't exactly have a decorated career, but he's not a good guy to put your title on when you're a company trying to compete with WWE. Yeah, let's put our World Heavyweight Championship on a guy who's just big, barely decent in the ring, and has no actual speaking ability. That's sure to put butts in the seats, right?
Yeah, they just throw the belt on the guy. I see what you're saying.
And then, like, they got his finishing move wrong, which is hilarious, because Bobby Lashley's the one that's supposed to do it.
Uh-huh.
Fucking, his finishing move was the Dominator, which it's still called the Dominator, but now, instead of fucking doing the Dominator, he does a running Oklahoma slam and calls it the Dominator. And it's stupid.
Let me adjust it a bit.
Yeah, like, I mean, sure, I'm sure the move is easier to perform, you know, like, easier to take and everything, because it's just a power slam, but, I mean, fucking, don't call it the Dominator. Like, if you're going to give him a new move, don't give it the same name as his old move.
Right. Unless it was like he improved it somehow, but didn't take away from the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Also, this is kind of, I guess it's unrelated. It's completely unrelated to the topic at hand, but it's related to wrestling, and I kind of got to mention it. I've been playing Dead or Alive a lot recently.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, there's wrestlers in that game.
Yeah, Tina, Bass.
Yeah, and the coolest part about playing DOA with wrestlers as opposed to any other game with wrestler-type characters is that there are a fuck ton of throws in DOA. Every character has so many fucking throws.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas if you're playing, like, say, Street Fighter, you got El Fuerte.
Mm-hmm.
He uses, like, 3 throws. He's got a Hurricane Rana, maybe a suplex, you know. But, you know, like, it's entertaining as hell because when I'm watching a DOA match with, like, say, Tina, you know, as one of the characters,
Yeah.
I'm fucking calling it like it's a wrestling match and shit.
And
like,
she has all the
calling
chain
the
throws
moves.
too. All the
Yeah.
combinations.
The thing that I thought was cool is that a move that she just got in the latest installment of the series
Uh-huh.
was a GTS.
Mm-hmm.
She has a go to sleep now, and when obviously when like CM Punk or any real wrestler does the GTS, it's not going to look super devastating because they're not really trying to fuck the guy up.
Right.
But in DOA, the second someone gets thrown, it's like ragdoll physics. So the second she hits that fucking knee, like, it just looks like the guy's skull just got cracked. And I was like, oh shit!
KO.
So yeah, that was a bit of off topic there. It got me thinking about it because I was thinking about, like, you know, power moves and shit.
Yeah. No, it's a good game. So I guess if we're going back to TNA, another thing that actually stirred up some controversy is the 6-sided ring versus 4-sided ring vote.
Yeah.
And if you just look at it on the surface, you think, oh, this is the best thing they can do. Go back to 6-sided, just like the X Division. But then, I guess, like, I mean, even I made the mistake too. Is it seemed like all the wrestlers don't like the idea of the 6-sided ring because the ropes are tighter and the mat is a lot harder. So it would do a lot worse for them.
The ropes being tighter isn't really gonna do any bad. The ropes being tighter is going to help more than it's gonna hurt, except for maybe the women because it already looks like they barely bounce off the ropes as it is. Mm-hmm. But like when it comes to moves like springboard moves, like, you know, the 6-sided ring is very much an X Division ring.
It is. Luchador ring.
Except for that hard bumping that you were talking about, like the mat being a little bit harder. Mm. But here's the thing. I don't see why they couldn't just not build it that way. Like, I granted, I'm not a ring maker or anything,
right?
But I was listening because AJ Styles actually brought this up in his podcast. Well, in Chris Jericho's podcast, AJ was a guest on it after he had left TNA,
right?
And he was talking about the 6-sided ring and how it was built as opposed to the 4-sided ring. And I guess the 4-sided ring actually does have a spring in the middle,
right?
And that's contradictory to what I saw because I had watched the tutorial on how to build a pro wrestling ring, like how to set it up and stuff. You know, you can find a bunch of stupid shit like that on YouTube. And the way that I saw the guy make it, it was a 4-sided ring, but the way that I saw him make it was the same way AJ described the 6-sided ring. There was just a bunch of pillars inside, like big metal pillars inside, that didn't really give as much flexibility. So that's what it sounds like to me. And the way I see it, if the 4-sided ring can be made with the spring and, you know, bumping in mind, then there's no reason why a 6-sided ring couldn't be made the same way.
Yeah, because it's kind of weird because a lot of the wrestlers were making a big deal out of it on Twitter.
Right, and I can totally understand that because when it comes right down to it, if your job is to take crazy falls for a living, you want to make sure that you take crazy falls that don't hurt as much as they have to, you know?
Yeah.
So, as far as safety is concerned, 4-sided ring, if it's the only way to go, then stick with that. But as far as product overall goes, the fans want 6 sides, and ultimately that's what you need to worry about are the fans. So if there is a way to compromise, if there is a way to make that 6-sided ring built the same way with the spring and, you know, the same amount of padding for easier bumps like the 4-sided ring, then there's absolutely no downside to doing it like that.
Well, I would imagine the rings in Mexico would have to have some pretty good padding because they always have to do spring boards and all type of flippy stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, like that's the way I look at it. Like maybe if they want to bring back the 6 sides, great. You know, I'd love to see 6 sides come back. But if it's gonna hurt your guys, do everything you can to try and improve that. And again, I'm not a ring maker, so I don't know. Maybe there's something that I, you know, wasn't aware of that absolutely prevents it from having a spring or something. But, you know, it's pro wrestling. If they've made a 4-sided ring with a spring, they can make a 6-sided ring with a spring. That's the way I look at it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, then go for it.
It looks like the vote is still up too. The voting page.
Are they showing like the results yet?
They're
Like
not,
the
but they said that it's been extended. Will be announced at Monday at 7 p.m. Winning boat will be transported to Manhattan Center in New York City just in time for the Impact taping on the 25th,
hmm,
26th, and 27th.
man, so they're really serious about this then.
Hmm.
Interesting.
That's gonna be interesting seeing that again, though. Like their pace will be a lot different
Yeah,
for their
like
heavyweights.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that draws like the highest rating that Impact's had in a long time. If it's the episode where they reintroduce the six-sided ring, you know,
Right.
like not necessarily meaning that it's going to keep that rating like forever, but I'm sure it will definitely at least have a bunch of the old jaded fans come back at least to see what's going on.
Because yeah, people are love nostalgia.
Right. And it's funny when people can be nostalgic about TNA because it's barely been around.
hmm The most nostalgic period of TNA was when they were still doing World X Cup and when the X Division was the hottest thing, and
Yeah.
the company didn't necessarily have a huge TV deal, but they used to be on Fox Sportsnet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember when the X Division title match main evented a pay per view?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when it was the like greatest match fucking ever?
Right. Like they even had the ones with like AJ Daniels and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that's the one I was like the first one, the one at Unbreakable '05, I believe.
Uh huh.
Like that's still the first match I show somebody if I'm showing them what good wrestling is.
Right.
Because the thing is, like that particular match, it may not have been a good WWE match because, when I think of that match, I don't really think of a story being told at all.
Right.
But it's definitely a good thing to show people who are like, oh, wrestling's fake and it's boring and it's just guys fake hugging each other. It's like pop in that match and you fucking see guys like stiffly kicking each other and fucking doing crazy ass fucking backflips. You see a fat guy dive through the ropes and shit.
Right, that was part of TNA's appeal. What made them stand out and be different from WWE is because they
Yeah.
actually had a different style of wrestling. It wasn't WWE style, but it was very high risk.
I mean, in TNA you had two styles. You had the X Division and then you had Russo.
Yeah, Russo.
That's what you had. When you saw an X Division match, you saw a great match with a lot of high flying,
Right.
not much of a story, but great action. The TNA, total nonstop action
Yes,
of the X Division.
total nonstop action. Yeah.
And then when you got to the main event with the heavyweights, you saw Swerve.
Russo
Yeah.
Machka.
Right. Anything Rusev touches, he destroys.
Yes.
Vince Russo and Rusev have that in common.
That's amazing.
That is very interesting. I want to see if I can make that catch on. Shit, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
Um,
they have an interesting history of trying a lot of things, failing, doing good. I mean, at the end of the day, if they pay off in the end and actually become above average again, then I guess it
right.
all paid off.
I just want to see less on a pole matches
Right.
because that's just straight up silly. It's kind of funny how TNA's answer to Money in the Bank is literally a briefcase on a pole match.
Feast of Fire.
Right, like anything where the phrase "on a pole" can be applied to the match needs to go. And I don't care if they need to completely rip off Money in the Bank. Do it. Like, you know what? That would be, how TNA likes to do those gimmick pay-per-views where, a lot of the old heads hate it because it's like the feud's not ready to be in a steel cage,
Right.
for lockdown and shit.
Right.
And I can understand that, but if you want a gimmick pay-per-view that would actually do well for TNA, fucking make the pay-per-view called TNA Feast or Fired, and have
I
like
see.
fucking
I see where you're going.
or maybe get rid of the fired aspect. I don't know how you'd exactly do that, but I got an idea. Except that would be fucking bad too. There'd be no good way to do that. Okay, But like make the concept each title is going to have a ladder match that night to decide who gets the briefcase for that championship. Like you would have 4 ladder matches on that night, and it doesn't mean every match has to take place in a ladder match, but you'd have a fucking knockouts ladder match, a tornado tag team ladder match,
Right.
fucking you'd have your X Division ladder match, and you'd have your heavyweight ladder match, and it would be a pretty decent idea because ladder matches usually pretty fucking exciting, especially if you make it more than just 2 people being in the match.
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah, like it would be a good way to kind of see if TNA could revitalize the, like kind of call back to the days where the WWE tag team titles were defended in all those TLC matches. Like take 3 teams, put them in the ladder match for a chance at the titles for the briefcase and shit, and have them go at it and see if they can do something good. Not that I don't think the Hardy Boys would want to take bumps like that anymore, but shit, even have them in those matches.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why they're bringing them back to, say, okay, you guys are gonna have to be the pioneers of what we're trying to do now.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the thing about bringing the Hardy Boys back, if you say you're reuniting the Hardy Boys, that means you're reuniting the Hardy Boys.
Yes.
You're not saying, oh, we're just signing Matt Hardy. You're saying we're bringing back the Hardy Boys, which is 100% of why I believe they've brought back the Jeff Hardy character as opposed to Willow.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see, like, if they're giving Hardy a world title match, it doesn't really make them much of a team.
Well, he's gonna lose.
Yeah, he'd have to lose.
He's gonna lose. Like, come on.
I'm just hoping that it's not something silly like they promised the fans the Hardy Boys are reunited, but Matt Hardy screws him out of the title shot. And
oh yeah,
they have a few.
That would be a TNA thing to do.
Like, what? Why would you even? What would be the point of saying we're gonna reunite? I didn't come to TNA to be in the Hardy Boys.
Right. I want a shot at the world championship, or like let Jeff win it and then turn his back on him.
Right.
Fucking, I want a shot at the TNA world title, and then it's Hardy versus Hardy and shit. But that is a very TNA thing to do. But the thing that I think would be good for TNA is to embrace the swerve mentality and swerve us by not swerving us. Because everyone expects it to happen so much that when it doesn't, we're legitimately happy about it. Like, for example, fucking the latest inductees into the TNA Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting it to be anybody that didn't deserve it, And then it ended up being Team 3D, the Dudley Boys.
Yes.
And while, sure, it wasn't a TNA original, but to be fair, they don't have any more TNA originals. Fucking, unless they wanted to give it to Eric Young or something, or Bobby Roode and shit, But I guess their theory about the Hall of Fame, which kind of makes sense, is that it's got to be an old guy, because it's the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, thinking about it like that, it makes sense that they gave it to guys like Sting and Angle and shit, because, even though Angle is still wrestling and Team 3D, one half of Team 3D is still wrestling,
right?
They're still older, and they're probably not going to keep doing it for a long time.
It's like they're doing them a favor and putting them in a place of history in their company.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, guys like AJ, Jeff Jarrett, fucking Chris Sabin, and Alex Shelley, Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, those guys deserve it. Like, much more than Sting, Kurt Angle, and Team 3D. But,
I guess since they're sticking to one person per inductee, they have to be really picky. If
or in this case, one tag team.
Yeah, because if they had like 5 people, of course they'd always put like an X Division original in there or something.
I mean, I was kind of hoping they'd do that, because like if you're just doing one guy per year, I mean, shit.
Like.
But anyway, like I was saying about the swerving, the thing that I was legitimately fearing during that whole segment was, for absolutely no reason, Devon turning heel.
It felt like it. Like, it just felt like, is this fool about to turn heel? He's like just standing,
right.
He's just standing there.
It's like, he's already fucking retired. You know, like Devon doesn't wrestle anymore. So it makes perfect sense that a big swerve would be to have Devon turn heel and beat up on Bully Ray and then not have them do anything about it. But that didn't happen, and I was legitimately surprised, and I was happy.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually a pretty decent segment. Like, they weren't the most deserving people to get Hall of Fame inductions, but they were certainly deserving people to get Hall of Fame inductions.
Right.
Especially because Bully Ray himself, like, even though his team was the one inducted and not just him, but he's evolved like crazy as a character since being in TNA.
That's probably why he owes them so much, like, because they helped his singles career more than any other place.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a TNA guy for the remainder. You know, it could happen to where he goes back to WWE, like, you know, like the wrestlers say themselves, never say never in the wrestling business.
Right.
But, you know, they did a lot with Bully Ray, and I don't think he would have gotten anywhere like that in WWE.
It makes me wonder if, you know, TNA's mentality is to convert superstars to TNA originals opposed to just thinking of them as WWE guys, and they're never going to be a TNA original.
I mean, in theory, that's what every promotion is like trying to do. Like, when you think about it, you know, there were quite a few guys in WWF during their heyday in the Attitude Era that were not WWF originals. I mean, The Rock he was WWF born and raised, but Stone Cold
On the playground, or I spend most of my days.
right.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, he started off WCW, went to ECW,
Right.
and then became the most popular wrestler in WWF. Fucking Chris Jericho started off in WCW, ECW, and shit. You know, there were quite a few guys, like the Dudley Boys, ECW guys. Technically, Edge started off in WCW. Like, he never got anywhere at all. Triple H started off in WCW.
Yep.
Never got anywhere at all. It's kind of like, take for example EC3.
Right.
If anyone calls him a WWE guy, they're kind of retarded.
When he was there for 5 minutes.
He did absolutely nothing. Didn't even have a character. Literally, I didn't even recognize him, but he was the guy who was in the ring wanting a match when Damian Sandow made his in-ring debut.
I remember that.
But refused to wrestle. Yeah, that was him. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't even realize. It's the same thing with Edge and Triple H. Because that's all they did at WCW. They were just jobbers that barely had names, you know. But then came to WWF and became big WWF stars. Now, does anybody think of them as WCW guys? Hell no.
That's probably exactly what's going on, and, you know, saying that we want these guys we want to do the most with them in TNA. They didn't get the biggest opportunities in WWE, even though they have a good piece of history there.
Yeah, but what I don't like is when you take already established big stars and then give them main event pushes. It's like they've already done that. Why are you giving them... It's like WCW during their dying days, actually during their fucking heyday. The only thing WCW did was take ex-WWF guys and put them in their main event.
Yeah, when you look at it, it's like, what can we do for this guy besides throw a world title on him?
Like, when you think about the biggest stars in WCW, most of them were ex-WWF guys. But you had WCW originals. You had DDP. You had Goldberg. You can't forget about Goldberg. But fucking everyone else was an ex-WWF guy. Fucking Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Lex Luger. I guess Ric Flair was like he was in WCW before he was in WWF, so you can't really say that about him. So he goes into the category of WCW guys.
Right.
But, like, you had an abundance of WWF guys hogging the main event in WCW.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, fuck. You know, like, they have a habit of doing that. But, you know, WWE didn't really do that. Like, they kept their own stars. Like, whenever they got WCW talents, they made them go through the ringer first, you know? Like, Chris Jericho, he debuted really strong, but it was a while before he became a champion. But he also was never in the main event of WCW, you know? Like, well, I guess you could say, like, when Ric Flair, like, had his short stint in the WWF before, you know, WCW went under, you know, they slapped a world title on him, but he was fucking Ric Flair. I guess you could make that justification.
Yeah, I think with Jericho, he definitely built his charisma and character while he was in WCW, and then
Yeah.
when he went to WWF at the time, you know, that just amplified him as he got more popular.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess if you also look at it that way with the Indies guys, that's what WWE did. They didn't just let Daniel Bryan just walk up in there and use his ROH and Indie status to get the
Right.
championships. He actually had to go through NXT and all that.
Well, I mean, WWE's never going to let that happen.
Yeah.
Never again. Like, you know, especially after the whole thing with Brock Lesnar way back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
Like, Brock Lesnar, I'm pretty sure his very first title was a WWE title. I don't even know if he's ever held another title other than that.
Let me think. Outside of the UFC title?
Well, I'm talking to WWE.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't recall him having like a mid-card title either.
I don't even think he was a tag team champion. I think he just had the WWE title and that's it. But when you peak that early, like, you know, it's, I always say it about the Divas Championship, you know, like, if your goal is to get that title and you get it, like, within your first year at the company, then what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, are you just gonna do gimmick
Right.
type of stuff? You know, like I see. So, do you think that Paige will still grow from here?
I mean, if they let her, yeah.
Yeah, she really has to fight good opponents, and she really has to fight her style. You know,
Yeah.
she can't have these matches looking like she's a helpless woman, and then she just does Paige Turner, and it's over.
Right. And that's still happening
It's
a
like
lot.
trump card 1, 2,
Right.
3. Yeah.
Well, we should probably talk about Raw since we're more than halfway through with the show already.
That's amazing. Spent 40 minutes on TNA.
Yeah, what the fuck are you thinking?
Okay, so Monday Night Raw, Triple H had everybody come out, of course, yeah, announced the Battle Royal, qualify for Money in the Bank.
Yeah. And he said that the only people who can't be in it are Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and John Cena. And that was because they needed John Cena's help. Because Kane wanted to have a stretcher match.
On Raw.
Yeah, so they made a stretcher match qualifier between Kane and John Cena for the Money in the Bank spot.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who won?
Laugh out loud, Super Cena.
I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the guy that's known for being a demon and legitimately trying to injure people.
Ruthless
I don't
aggression.
know. I think the stretcher match is severely flawed because it's just a really it's just a name is all it is, because it's nowhere near as gruesome as it should be. A name like a stretcher match shouldn't be, oh, put your opponent on a stretcher and wheel him to the finish line.
The way it's done now, it does look like it'd be like a gimmick wrestler or mid-card match, like
Right.
because you don't. It's not like, you know, like you said, they were beat into an inch of their life or something,
Yeah.
and then they were put on the stretcher. It's more like, let me do the attitude adjustment, and you're gonna land very comfortably,
Yeah.
and then
Like-
lose the match.
I don't know if this is how it used to be back in the day,
Uh-huh.
but it should be fucking similar, even though I guess it would kind of ruin moments. But I mean, the stretcher match is rare as it is. So a stretcher match should be like you beat the guy within an inch of his life, to where the paramedics are like, oh fuck, we got to get him out of here. Like he's legitimately hurt, like not real life legitimate, but kayfabe legitimately hurt. So they put him on a stretcher, start to wheel him out, and then he's like no, and then fights out of the stretcher. Like
Basically like a last man standing match where you're actually taking an ambulance.
yeah, something like that. And like granted, if you were to see something like that too many times, it would kind of ruin the moment of things like Daniel Bryan's WrestleMania 30 moment where he gets off the stretcher.
Right.
But I mean, if you're gonna have a fucking stretcher match, that's obviously not gruesome. It's like, yeah, just put him on a stretcher and wheel him to the finish line. Yay!
It was funny because the stretcher was all.
You could have the same match in a race car bed and call it a race car bed match. Like,
who will turn left at the end? It's like the stretcher was already past the line. They did a little reversal war. Oh my god, it's attitude adjustment.
Right.
The soft.
And it was the softest attitude adjustment.
Like the softest bump that Kane ever took.
Yeah. Like it was like boop. There you go, Kane. Boop.
It's like I lost. Let's see. I've got some bad news. Yeah.
We had Dean Ambrose versus Wade Barrett. This was after Ambrose came out and kicked the shit out of Seth Rollins. Dean Ambrose has new music.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I liked it. I like Dean Ambrose and I like Seth Rollins' new music. Now, after seeing this segment, literally, because I was on DeWoo Tubes, and I was watching it with all the other guys, and I was like, watch, Roman Reigns is going to keep the Shield music, except it's not going to have that intro part where they spell it out.
Right.
And guess what happened?
Dun it.
Yeah.
Dun.
Roman Reigns kept the Shield music, except without for the intro part.
And he still does the crowd part.
Yeah, he still does the crowd part. And, while we didn't get a chance to see if Dean Ambrose was going to start walking out on the ramp, I have a feeling he's going to start walking out of the ramp. It's just going to be a Roman Reigns thing. So history is going to be rewritten to make it seem like Roman Reigns was always the leader of the Shield. Because he's the only one coming out of it still doing Shield shit.
Like, yes, I was made with the crowd.
Right. Like, that's fine. It's whatever. But that just made me giggle profusely.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Ambrose, he won. Bad News Barrett won via countout.
Yes. Because Seth Rollins came in to interfere.
Yeah, and be a troll.
But then Dean Ambrose was like, no, fuck you, and started kicking his ass on the outside. He got counted out because I guess, Rollins never landed a hit, so there was no disqualification.
Right.
Ambrose got counted out, and then in a fit of rage, I guess, Ambrose came in and beat up Bad News Barrett. So even as a babyface, he's still doing, those crazy lunatic things that he's known for. So that's pretty cool. He's not your typical babyface in despair and peril and shit.
Yeah. True. Let's see what else. Bray Wyatt. I guess Sheamus won via DQ because the Wyatts weren't having it.
Yeah.
Sheamus looked like he was about to win.
But before the match, Bray Wyatt cut a promo, and they needed to do this. And I was so happy that they did it. Bray Wyatt's character was not the kind of character that you would think would care about championships.
Right.
So in order to tie up that little loose end, they had him come out there and cut a promo as to why he would want to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And he did, and it was good. He was like, power and influence.
Mm-hmm.
He said that 90 million times. Like, and to win, and here in WWE, the World Heavyweight Championship is power
And influence.
and like that was awesome. I highly respected that. Now the thing that I think is kind of bad is how so far there's only one more Raw left until Money in the Bank, right? Just one.
Yes.
Okay, only one more Raw left, and so far Bray Wyatt's the only one that gives a fuck about the title. I mean, you could make a case and say that Roman Reigns cared because he wanted to get in that battle royal so bad.
Yeah,
but
he looked up at the title, so that means
right.
He cares.
Like the only person that's given us, the heat has given us heat on him for wanting to tell, like, oh my God, he wants this title. It's awesome. He comes out and cuts a promo about why he wants the title. Then you got guys like John Cena. He's like, I want to be in the match because I'm always champion. I kind of need to, whatever.
It's in my contract to always be in title matches.
Right. Like he didn't give a fuck about the title. Like he didn't. Randy Orton, I guess it's implied he wants the title. But
I'm entitled. Get it?
Yeah, but no one's saying this is what I'm saying. So like we've just got a bunch of guys in the title match. Theoretically, yes, everyone wants the title. Like, of course.
All like Del Rio was just like, oh cool, I'm in the title match. I should take advantage of this.
Right. But like, as far as in kayfabe, the only person that showed us how much he wanted it is Bray Wyatt. He came out and told the whole world why he wanted it. He gave us clear and concise reasons. He wants the title. And now as fans, since he's not a true heel right now at this point, we want him to have a title because it's like, oh man, it'd be kind of cool if he has the title.
It would be, because putting the Wyatt family in that type of position gives them a lot more screen time too.
Wouldn't it be great if fucking the Wyatt family became a super stable with how they fucking are?
Yeah.
Like, the Wyatt family is the most like oddball like group of people. Like if you were to at a glance look at the Wyatt family, if you were an old hat, look at the Wyatt family, you'd be like, oh, these guys are like fucking those random fucking disgruntled stables back in the 90s, like fucking
Bushwhackers.
The Oddities, like the Oddities and shit. Fucking, like, you wouldn't expect them to be a dominant super stable, but it'd be fucking hilarious if you had Bray Wyatt being the World Heavyweight Champion,
right?
And then you had Harper and Rowan be the tag team champions and have each of them have a singles belt, U.S. and Intercontinental.
They must
like they just hold all the fucking titles.
They must be a gimmick stable. Wait a minute, they're actually pretty good.
They've got all of the gold.
You got a big guy doing dives through the ropes, doing kicks to you, super kicks. Yeah. I think it will look good on them because they are a prominent force, at least.
I guess we'll see, though. I highly doubt Bray Wyatt's going to win, but it would be nice. I would definitely appreciate it if he won.
Let's see. In terms of, because we also have Cesaro in a match too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he really talked about it, except he's
didn't.
just in a match. Yeah.
Right now, he's just a Paul Heyman guy. Like, he's not really doing anything super important. Like, that's why the fans aren't behind him as much anymore. Like, they're kind of trying to cool him off a little bit, and I think it's weird because at first, like, I guess the plan was to make the fans want a babyface turn,
right?
And I guess like technically we do, but he's not really doing anything. Like they've cooled him off by putting him with Heyman. Heyman comes out and talks, but the only thing he ever talks about is Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, which is, it's, even though it's supposed to be a comedy thing, it actually does look bad. It's not a good look.
I mean, like, fucking, I can kind of see if what they're building towards is to like have Cesaro get pissed off about it and like eventually say Brock Lesnar's not so tough, I could beat Brock Lesnar, and then they have a match, not necessarily like a blood match where fucking Heyman is cheating on behalf of Brock Lesnar or anything like the Punk match was.
Right.
But like to have a legitimate, strongest man versus strongest man match, like just fucking have the two go out and put on a good match with Paul Heyman being in the middle going, oh God, why are they fighting? Why? Like I want my boys to be happy,
Right.
Which I think would be cool, and it doesn't necessarily have to lead to a betrayal, but I guess it would, because you would get a very much a babyface reaction from Cesaro at this point.
Yeah, he does need a better rivalry in that regard, because I don't know, it feels really forced, like trying to force how his popularity. It has to feel organic, because that's how Daniel Bryan worked out. It's not like they just picked Daniel Bryan to be everyone's hero.
Right. As a matter of fact, they tried to prevent it like several times.
Exactly. If the fans never spoke up, they would have just said, it's just Daniel Bryan, maybe give him the world heavyweight, but not the WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thanks to that, if it wasn't for that, we would have ended up having just Batista versus Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania.
Wow.
Like, just think about the card that was supposed to happen. Randy Orton versus Batista in the main event for the main title. Like CM Punk versus Triple H in a match that Triple H probably would have won. Daniel Bryan would have been like the low card main event with Sheamus.
Right.
Fucking Sheamus. That's the matches we would have got.
It would have been like, I'm getting revenge from WrestleMania.
Right.
18 seconds, no more,
Right. And then they would have swerved us again by having fucking Daniel Bryan making Sheamus tap out in 18 seconds.
Uh-huh.
But, we got a good WrestleMania, so that was cool. Like, I can do nothing but be hopeful for the future. And that's kind of what I'm doing. Like I mentioned, they're kind of waiting out, the older guys now, the guys like Cena. Orton's probably still going to be around, but hopefully he's not going to be quite as prominent.
Yeah.
But you got all these new guys coming up from NXT that are actually doing well. Like all three members of the Shield. Like those guys are fucking set. As long as they don't fuck up personally. Like as long as none of them get caught with like fucking weed or drunk driving and shit. Yeah. They should be perfectly fine. Like those guys are set. Like they're all good in Triple H's eyes. So they've got like one of the highest people in the company, and I'm sure Vince McMahon likes them all at least to an extent.
Right.
Because like he might not like Rollins nearly as much as Reigns, probably not even Ambrose as much as Reigns. But as long as Triple H has a say so, all three of those guys are going to be main eventers from now on.
I think
and
so.
I hope to fucking Jeebus that I am correct on that. Because, like I said earlier, never say never in the wrestling business. That could end up being wrong as fuck.
Yeah, everything changes. Injuries happen.
Right.
People come back. Yeah, but I'm looking at this Money in the Bank match, and it almost seems like the person that would get the most out of winning the title at the moment would probably be Bray Wyatt. Like, they can even tease something like Roman Reigns could be the guy who's teased to win it because he's like the super baby face that's up and coming. But Bray Wyatt has all the factors at this point, and everyone knows him. He can be champion.
Okay. Here's the thing. Here's the way I look at it. There's two routes they can go.
Mm-hmm.
And one route I favor far superior over the other.
Right.
The first route is basically, well, both are kind of ways to build Bryan's return. The first round, the first route is the one I don't really like that much. It's John Cena winning the Money in the Bank match, being fucking 15-time World Heavyweight Champion. Then loses to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam for the title. At which point, Brock Lesnar, maybe have Brock fucking use up all of his appearances during his title reign so that he can defend it at every pay-per-view until, you know, maybe Survivor Series or one of the ones that are actually big.
Right.
Like, have him hold it from SummerSlam until Survivor Series or maybe even the Royal Rumble. I don't know. But have him hold it for a while.
Right.
And have him beat just guy after guy, like going over, you know, the fucking the best guys in the company. Like, it might give us a lot of matches we don't want to see, but storytelling wise, it'll be things that need to happen. Like, have him beat Randy Orton in a main event, as much as I would fucking hate to see that goddamn match. Like, you know, like have him beat, having him beat John Cena for the title gets him his win back. That he, you know, his first match in the company back was losing to John Cena. Have him beat John Cena so that now it's like, okay, yeah, he is fucking godlike now. He took down the streak. Now he took down John Cena. Have him take out Randy Orton. Maybe fucking have him beat Triple H again. No, God, no, don't do that. Like, he's done enough with Triple H, but you see where I'm getting at.
I am, yeah.
Then have Bryan come back and work his way back up to the title contention. Like, you know, not just have him come back and immediately get a title shot because, you know, people, fucking the guys upstairs don't want it to happen, you know, clearly.
Yeah.
But it'll give him time back to, you know, when he comes back, apparently he's going to need to beat Kane again. So that's going to happen. But have it all lead up to Bryan versus Lesnar at a big pay-per-view. And have Bryan actually beat Lesnar. Because Lesnar shouldn't lose often. But when he does, it has to matter. And I think that would matter.
Yeah, if he's going to pass the torch at that moment, I would definitely make it a big match. So, yeah, I agree about that.
Now, what I would rather happen, because it would keep Lesnar's appearances more special, and it wouldn't put the title on a part-time guy.
Right.
What I would rather happen is I would have Bray Wyatt win Money in the Bank, and have him have a nice long title reign, and then have him eventually lose it to Daniel Bryan, because Bray Wyatt could definitely be a great champion. Doesn't need to change his character because his character, like, writes itself. It's technically a heel, but it's a babyface in reaction. You know, like,
yeah,
you know, he doesn't need to say that fucking he's trying to murder everybody. He doesn't have to say that, you know, the fans in Washington D.C. are fat today. You know, like, just have him go out and do Bray Wyatt stuff.
It would
and
just,
like who.
It would give him that kind of like when you see in different movies, there's always an alpha. It would pretty much make his influence a lot bigger. Follow the buzzards.
And then, like, fucking who, like, it'd be even better have Bray Wyatt hold it until the Royal Rumble, to where we'd have Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt in their Royal Rumble rematch from a year ago, where Bray Wyatt beat him.
That'd be interesting. Then WrestleMania.
I wouldn't mind having Bray Wyatt hold the title from now until the Royal Rumble. Would you?
I wouldn't either. I think he would be a fresh champion. He wouldn't be the norm like people like Orton or Cena.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, even Roman Reigns, like, if he's a new guy, but he's the norm. Like, if Roman Reigns holds the title, we're gonna be like, oh, okay, we were all expecting that. You know, it's like he's got the body of Batista but the face of Randy Orton. He's the same fucking thing that we've had, you know, like. But, you know, if Bray Wyatt were to hold the title, holy shit, like, that would be like, look at who our world champion is. He's different.
If the person can tell a story with their character, that makes the difference for the title run, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm rooting for Bray Wyatt so hard in this ladder match, even though I don't think it's going to happen. I'm still rooting for it so fucking hard.
Right, the most unexpected result, or the one you don't care about the most.
Right.
Yeah.
If Del Rio wins, I might take a break from wrestling for a while.
Well, what the hell? He wasn't on TV this whole time.
Right.
Now he starts speaking up because he has the belt.
Right. We're almost done here, but two things we got to bring up really quick. Stardust.
Yes. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah. Cody Rhodes being repackaged as a parallel gimmick to his brother Goldust in Stardust. Now, I'm excited for this because when they eventually break up, if Cody Rhodes remains a face, dude, the greatest tag team ever could be made.
Yes.
Are you ready for this?
What's that?
Cody Rhodes is Stardust with Dolph Ziggler. Do you get the joke? Do you get it?
I kind of
their team name would be called Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy Stardust.
It would be the greatest tag team idea that they've had in a long time.
Ziggy Stardust.
Yes, but yeah, I was cool on it. Like he had
I called it, man.
You did, like you guessed that like before I did, but the second you said it, I was like, oh yeah.
We were just joking. I was like, it'd be funny if like it's something like Shockmaster or repackaged Cody Rhodes.
Right. Yeah. And it was a repackaged Cody Rhodes. It was fucking it was crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. You know, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I definitely liked it. One thing I thought was interesting was that he used, I guess you could say it's a new finisher. It was kind of like a blockbuster off the second rope.
Uh-huh.
But in reality, if you think about it, it's just a second rope crossroads. You know? I wonder what he calls it. I guess he could name it the Stardust, like, cause that already sounds like a move name.
Yes, Stardust.
Or
yes.
Call it the Diamond Dust or something.
Diamond Dust. Reason.
The Starbuster.
Starbuster.
What Austin Aries called his Brainbuster back when he was known as Austin Star.
Paparazzi.
And the last thing we need to talk about was, I guess, the Vicky Guerrero segments.
Oh yeah, he was mixing the coffee. Roman mixed the coffee.
Yeah, that was funny. I guess. Like, I got a chuckle out of it, but I was like, oh, okay.
Damn, if Stephanie really threw up like that, I'm like, holy shit. That aim.
Projectile vomiting.
That aim, no. Yeah.
Freaking shit. I guess those were Vince McMahon's ideas, and,
right.
And it shows.
Yeah, not Vince Russo, Vince McMahon's ideas.
Yep. So he managed, he as in Roman Reigns, managed to weasel his way into the Battle Royal despite being told that he was not to be in it, because he spiked Steph's and Triple H's coffee. Triple H ended up spilling his coffee, so he couldn't drink his. Steph ended up projectile vomiting all over Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah,
and Reigns, knowing that Vicky was going to get blamed for it, was like, since you're going to get fired anyway, you might as well do the right thing and put me in this Battle Royal. And she was like, okay, fine. So Reigns was in the Battle Royal. Reigns won the Battle Royal. He was the last spot at Money in the Bank. Woo-hoo. So overall, the look of the Money in the Bank did not change too much from what I thought it was going to be when we first got those first four guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I suspected that two of the slots were going to be Bray Wyatt and John Cena, and I was right about that.
Right.
But the last spot, I wasn't exactly sure who they were going to go with, because I thought Reigns was going to end up having a singles match. But
yeah, I remember when they said Seth Rollins would be in it. I didn't know if that was the main one, but he's going to be in the second one.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if another type of situation could happen too, like just long shot. Say like something happened, like Roman Reigns won it, and assuming that the other Money in the Bank match was before it, it
would be. It will be. It's going to be the main event.
Yeah. So then, like, let's just say Seth Rollins won that one or something,
Yeah. Who I'm thinking is in a pretty good shape to do so.
Yeah. They pull like a Randy Orton type of cash in.
You mean the Edge cash in?
Or
don't get it twisted, man. That was Edge's baby.
I mean, like, Edge, he did it because Cena was really messed up. But then with the Randy Orton one, it was just like, hey, let's go to the ring, beat up on.
Tease it, but then like not do it, but then do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's Seth Rollins. What's he doing? Oh my God, the Authority.
Fucking, oh my God. I'm going to make a bold prediction.
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. It would be stupid if they did this.
Right.
Roman Reigns wins, right? They have Seth Rollins come out. He's teasing the cash in. Roman Reigns is all tired. He's selling. You know, fucking Rollins looks like he's going to do it, but instead he doesn't do it. You know, you got Ambrose in there trying to help Reigns out. Suddenly, Ambrose starts beating the fuck out of Roman Reigns.
He said
Oh,
it,
no.
He said it just like
no.
He said it kind of like an Ambrose voice.
Oh no, Seth Rollins cashes in. Oh no, 1, 2, 3. And then he hits the curb stomp, and then another 1, 2, 3, because 3 ain't enough, man. He needs 6. Fucking, I would personally love it if Seth Rollins left Money in the Bank the World Heavyweight Champion.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking those two scenarios could happen if.
But I kind of don't want it to be like that, as in like Ambrose turns heel again, because like we need to see Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose like at fucking SummerSlam. That needs to happen.
And
so,
what would it do for? I mean, what would it do for them if they both were heels? Like, yeah, we're BFFs. Like,
now, I could potentially see a scenario where fucking Roman Reigns wins the world title. Seth Rollins does cash in and beats him, and that sets up, that makes the Ambrose versus Rollins match. That makes it a world title match, which already, like fucking a match that we know is going to be good. Rollins versus Ambrose. That makes it the main event for the world title. That would be awesome.
Right.
And that would give it justification, since we know that Reigns is, we are about 90% sure that Reigns is going to be facing Triple H at SummerSlam.
Right.
And that doesn't need to be for a title. So if that ends up happening, I'm completely cool with it, Because if Reigns versus Trips is going to happen, then it's going to happen.
Trips,
yeah. But we know that at some point Rollins and Ambrose is going to happen, and I would love it to be a main event for the title. At SummerSlam, it would be awesome. It'd be the perfect way to say this is the future. Get ready to see matches like this a lot.
I love that we don't always have to have a big dude have the belt because it's the world heavyweight title,
Right.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bryan's not a big dude,
Yeah, he pretty much set the bar for potential people like from NXT to get the belt.
Right, and he hasn't had a signature matchup since his reign started because he didn't really have a reign. They're like, oh, we're going to put you in with Kane, and then you're going to get injured, so that sucks. So,
yeah.
The two feuds that I would love to see the most in the coming years for the main title, long-standing feuds, I would love it to be Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Have those two continuously work together. And then have Ambrose and Rollins continuously work together. Like, those two feuds, because, not so much Bray versus Bryan, that has a little bit of history now, but, the Rollins versus Ambrose thing, that's been around since NXT. That's, that was I think they kind of had a thing during the Indies, or maybe they never fought each other in the Indies, and, that was the basis of their NXT feud or something, but I do know that before it was NXT, when it was called FCW, they had this feud going on, and there was an awesome match. If you haven't seen it yet, you need to look it up. It was for the FCW 14 or 15 or something. It was a title that wasn't a belt; it was a medal or something, and it was for that. And it was an Iron Man match for that title on FCW between Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. And that match was awesome. If you haven't seen it, check it out.
I totally should, but I like that they're gonna, bring back that history with the current WWE.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I know Reigns is definitely going to be in the title picture. But if we're thinking about it, if we're looking at the next 5 years, guys to be in the title picture or the main event scene, Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns, Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, those 6 guys right there, that's already fucking a main event picture, that's something you could work with.
The
You know,
new, the
like,
new, the new stars.
yeah.
We don't always have to see Cena or Orton.
And please let us not see those guys often.
Yeah.
Like, not now. The future is now, man. Like, fucking go for it. Let's get this shit on the road. Like, and I know they kind of want something safer. Roman Reigns is definitely going to be a safe bet because, he's got the look. He's a very fucking handsome ass man. Like, fucking, I saw, God, I forgot what commercial it was for.
Right.
But when I was watching NXT, a commercial aired where I think Roman Reigns was kind of playing with his daughter.
Uh-huh.
And like fucking, he's looking like a suave ass family man and shit. His daughter's all tiny and cute, and like fucking, he's playing house with her and shit, and having a tea party. Like, and I was like, you know what? I like that guy.
Yeah, I like that
like,
guy. I will let my kids watch him.
Yeah, like I can look at it from both directions all the time, because like when I saw that, I was like, okay, I get it. Like,
Uh-huh.
I know this is what you're doing. Like, you're saying this guy is going to be our next John Cena,
Mhm.
so we need to start marketing him like he's the next John Cena.
True.
And I can understand that. Like, if you put Ambrose in that, not necessarily going to work out as well.
He looks like the big brother instead.
Well, I mean, like, to be fair, I think, like, having Dean Ambrose do that same shit in that kind of video would be adorable.
Yeah.
But, it's Dean Ambrose, so he looks like he's a fucking serial killer. So it'd be creepy, too, at the same time. So you're not really going to put that on there. But yeah, like, I can understand why a guy like Reigns is necessary. But, like, as long as he is good, like, I don't mind. Like, John Cena, he started finally getting, like, pretty good matches. But, like, his reigns in the past were fucking boring. Like, just straight up, always.
Yeah. My time is up. Your time is up. My time is now. It's still his
His-
time.
Right, his time has been up for a long time.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, it really is still your time, huh?
Right, I guess so. But hopefully this new generation, it's their time now. Like, I would love for this to start. And like, I know Daniel Bryan's already up there in age. He's 33, 34 or something. But he's got a couple more years left in the tank. He can be one of the headliners of the new generation.
Yeah, no, I agree. He can just because everyone doesn't always start wrestling as 20 something,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, fucking the very first time, well, the first time he recognizes it anyway, Benoit ever had the world title, he was fucking, like, 40 by then.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he won the WCW title, too, but then left the night after. But they didn't have an angle like that. Like, that was TNA already. Shit. All right, so we've kind of talked a lot. So we're about done with the show here. 1:12. Nice.
Woo.
All right, anything you want to add?
We did reserve Diva of the Week for a monthly thing, so.
Yeah. So
Oh.
we're good on that. For
You know what we should add is NXT.
Yeah, we barely talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah, I guess if you want to get to the juicy stuff, the women's division, more dissension with the BFFs, pushing
that
each other,
Flipping each other's hair. My God.
my God, clawing like cats. Natalia tried to make it up to Tyson Kidd, putting him with Sami Zayn in a tag match. Tyson was like, he's not worth my time, so I'm going to walk away and let the Ascension body
No. Like, what happened was that fucking Sami Zayn could not get to his partner. He could not make the tag. He was trying, but I guess fucking Tyson Kidd kind of didn't see that. His mind is all cloudy and shit. So he was like, "Fine, you want to fight the whole match by yourself? Fine, you could have the whole match by yourself."
Oh, talk about
Like,
misconception.
Yeah, you could hear him say that if you pay attention when he's walking away.
Uh-huh.
So like we're gonna get that heel turn probably next week, if not the week after.
Alright.
Like, other than that, shit, what did we have? We had Breeze versus Callisto. That was a pretty good match.
Yeah.
That's it's definitely good to see Callisto is gonna fill Ray's shoes pretty well, because that's what he's in for. Like, they want another top Mexican luchador superstar to replace Ray when his time comes.
Yeah.
So they're gonna get that in spades with Callisto.
Yeah, I guess Sin Cara, was that the intention with Sin Cara
Yep,
originally?
that was the intention with Sin Cara, but Sin Cara refused to learn English, and like his matches were all ended up sloppy, and he refused to learn the WWE style, and they replaced the original Sin Cara with Hunico, and
Uh,
Hunico is a good Sin Cara, but they've already given up on the character, so it's like, Sin Cara is probably going to stick around as a character, just so they can sell the masks and shit. But don't expect to see,
right.
too many like Sin Cara like important matches going on.
So the,
Like they might have a passing of the torch moment, like kind of try and build up the new Sin Cara, like in an effort to like put Callisto over when he finally makes it to the main roster.
right.
But I don't think Sin Cara is going to be doing anything important to build himself up, um, ever. Actually,
Yeah, I mean he was in the Scooby Doo movie, so that's probably
yeah.
the biggest accolade.
Other than that, oh yeah, we had the debut of the Vaudevillains. Um, fucking,
Sound like Wyatt Family's neighbors or something.
it's a play on words. It's vaudeville
Uh-huh.
combined with villains.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's basically an old timey tag team. It's got Aiden English, the guy who comes out singing.
yeah,
He's teaming with Simon Gotch, a guy that like is kind of dressed like one of those classic fucking muscle men power lifters,
mm-hmm.
complete with the tough guy mustache from back in the day.
Right.
So that's kind of a cool touch. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. They get really creative with the NXT gimmicks. They're not the
Yeah.
norm.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Vaudevillains will probably be the next tag team champions after the Ascension get called up, and I don't think the Ascension is going to lose the titles.
Yeah.
They're not going to be beaten for it. I mean, they're probably going to do the same thing they did with Paige and just take remove the titles off of them after they get called up.
That'd be interesting to see the Usos fight them. It's like two completely different styles
Yeah,
that represents face and heel.
right. I would love to see the Ascension versus the Wyatt family.
That'd be amazing.
Like fucking two teams that you don't know who's supposed to be a heel and who's supposed to be a face.
Right.
It's just two teams just kind of getting in there and fucking each other up.
Man, next thing we know, it's gonna be a big eye, a big subliminal eye in the middle of the ring when they fight.
Oh man,
All the subliminal messages.
the Illuminati.
Right.
All right, on that happy note,
Happy
that's
note.
pretty much it's all that we had for NXT. So we're gonna go ahead and end this episode. Thank you guys for watching MAWS Talks Wrestling. We have been your hosts. I am LunaKage.
And I am Glenburg.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you and good night.